The cloud. Welcome, everybody. My name is Brenda B. Bailey, and this is the Theta Power Hour. And I'm not going to say one of my most favorite guests, but I'm going to say pretty close, if not, because some of them are like good friends that have been guests of mine. So you can't supersede them, Leonie, but I'm just saying but we could become besties pretty quick here in half an hour. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Well, I mean, like now that you've set that precedent, I was like, well, this is just turned competitive. And I like to be number one. So Brenda B. Bailey's best friends, watch out, bitches, because I'm coming for you.
So let me go ahead. Let me tell y'all, if you have lived under a rock, let me give you a little bit. I looked up her bio on her website. So let me tell you a little bit about Leonie Dawson. So Leonie Dawson is an internationally best-selling author of the 2021 Go Getter workbooks and planners, which have been used by over 400,000 people worldwide. She is a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Leonie has generated over 10 million in revenue while only working 10 hours a week. She has been recognized for her business acumen, which is a fancy word, y'all Google it, by winning Awesomepreneurs People's Choice Business Coach, Global Brand, and Business Making a Difference Awards. She has spent the last 10 years living in some of the most beautiful places around Australia, and she currently lives with her 2 daughters and husband on the Sunshine Coast.
Nice. Nice. Who is this sexy beast you refer to? Oh, it's me.
I always say that. It was so funny that you say that, Leonie, because I always say, like, do you like go, wow, that person is so like amazing. And you're like, that's me.
Yes, it's exactly how I feel. And so like, look what I did, guys. Did anybody else hear that? Because that was me.
Yeah, right. And her kids are probably going, it's just mom. It's just mom.
Basically.
So this is the thing, guys. Let me tell y'all this. So this is a recording, which normally I go live, but this is a recording. And of course, I was like, whatever, Leonie, just tell me what I got to do, right? So Leonie, I have been following Leonie. I was actually thinking about it today for at least 10, 11, I don't know. How long have you been around, Leonie? I know you've been around forever, but how long have you been like where people could belong to your academy?
Oh, yeah. That started 2010. So yeah, that's like 11 years, but I've been running e-courses since 2008 and I've been blogging since 2004. So I'm in it for the long haul.
So it's probably been at least 11 years, if not longer. When she started, so again, I'm fangirling just a teeny bit, and I'll probably do it throughout the interview, just saying. But I have funny stories to tell as well in following Leonie. But what I loved about her, and I will just say this right off the bat, is I loved her style. I loved her feminine, artistic way, because back when Leonie started, because you guys have to remember, right? Like the internet hasn't been around as long as, I mean, it's been around for some people all their lives, but for us, it hasn't. And so in the beginning, when people first started being on the internet, it was very male dominated. It was very like, check out my Corvette in front of my mansion kind of thing. Don't you want to have it all and pay me, $1 million and I'll show you how to do it. Or it was a very male dominated, very masculine energy. And then here comes Leonie, and she has this fairy-like presence, not mouth, we'll just say presence. And her art is amazing. It's colorful, it's very feminine, and she tells it like it is. And I fell in love with you. So I have to say that of the what is it, $10 million that she's made, I've contributed to that. I'm just going to say that. And because I love her. And I also, I think too, when you're an entrepreneur, you want to see what somebody's doing. So I would buy some of her, especially the goal setting workbooks. I bought them for years just because I just loved looking at them. And I didn't do them. I'm going to tell you that, but I did eventually. Okay.
Great success.
Yes. And then there's a great story behind that, but we won't start off the interview with that. We'll end the interview with it because I think, yeah, so I'll stop talking soon, but I just have to kind of build it up here so y'all know who Leonie is and why I'm fangirling, because I know y'all have never seen me fangirl on my show because I don't. But I just love Leonie, and what a treat it is for me. She's up at the crack ass of dawn to talk to me, and I'm so excited. So welcome, Leonie. I'll hush for a minute. I'll stop fangirling.
Oh, Brenda, you sweet human. The thing that is like most intriguing me is what the B in Brenda B. Bailey stands for. And I don't want you to tell me, but I feel like I need to kind of guess it by the end of this interview. You know what I mean? Okay. And if I win, like if I work out what it is, I feel like you would be obligated to say that I actually am your favorite guest.
Okay, a deal.
Shake through the
That's
screen.
Right. We're shaking on this. Yeah.
So my first two guesses, but it's unlimited guesses during this, and I can just come out with it at any point.
Okay, guys, just know that.
So the first one, is it Barry?
No.
Don't
think more United States.
Boadicea.
Think more Texas.
Okay, cool. I'll work on it.
So now she's got this on, but pay attention to me, Leonie. Be in the interview.
I like it's my brain is ADHD as well as autistic, and so it needs like a few like background processes going. You know what I mean? Like that's how things work.
I'm with you. So I love this because if you want to know about Leonie, just follow Leonie. She'll tell you all about her. But that's the thing, is that also too, we've come from a part, right, as long as she's been doing this, where people just wanted it to appear a certain way. They wanted to feed you what they wanted to know. And Leonie kind of just broke that mold and just showed up and said, this is me. And I still do well. And everybody, of course, wanted to follow her because they loved her. So my first question for her is that she actually sent out an email saying, you know, would you like to interview me? You know, it was like, it was from her team. Would you like to interview Leonie? And I thought, well, I wonder if people are just going to go, what? You know, so I waited like a day or two. And then they were like, you know, okay, well, we can set a date 9 months from now. I was like, what are we having, a baby here? Okay, 9 months from now, I will put it on my calendar. And then we had to change I don't know if you knew this, we had to change it like once or twice. And I was like, that's cool. Let's just make it happen. And then they sent out an interview here recently. So I was like checking with Alexa, right? Like, okay, I've got the time conversion right, correct?
I mean, this is on you. If you had taken like less than 2 days to answer, you wouldn't have been 9 months down in the pipeline, because like people had to answer straight away and then they could get booked in. But we just like, it was amazing. Like people just like went, fuck yeah. And so my assistant just like populated my calendar for like,
well, and what was so funny is that, you know, I'm sure like they were like me, like, really? Okay. You know, like I had to wrap my head around it for a minute, like, Leonie Dawson, really? Okay. So what made you do that? What made you send that email? Because apparently by the email that's coming, some people haven't converted time correctly and they've wasted your time a little bit, maybe not a lot, but just a bit. But
oh yeah, like, well, I mean, this is the thing though, it's like people like, and by people, I mean Americans, they don't know how to change time zones. They don't, because you live only in like your own time zones, and anything else is beyond you. Especially like you got to take into account Australia is a day in the future, and unfortunately, like that is like, I feel like I am a part-time geography teacher, like trying to explain to Americans how the world works. So of course, like some people are going to fuck up dates and stuff like that. Bless them. And so we just try and build in things like that. But that's cool. I decided to do it because I wanted to do more interviews, and instead of pitching every motherfucker out there with a podcast, I was like, I'll just talk to the people who actually like me already. So
I don't think that I will just here's full disclosure. I don't think that Leonie's audience just likes her. I think they
okay. Yeah. No, they're my people. And also it's kind of tricky when I go onto a podcast where people don't understand who I am. Like I've been on a few podcasts run by straight white men. And they just have no clue what to do with me. No fucking clue whatsoever. Like one guy kept on just saying over and over, but what's your elevator pitch? Tell me in 10 seconds what you do. And I was like, I'm a unicorn. I can talk about whatever I want on the internet. And he's like, you still haven't told me. And I'm like, and I'm not going to.
She is not going to fit into that mold. It's true. I've had a couple of podcast interviews like that as well. Like they didn't get it. I was like, this did not land well. They did not get who I was, what I do, how that is. Because as always, so I have a limited time with Leonie, just so y'all know. And so we'll pause it and then I'll do a little work afterwards on things that she's brought up. But I think that she's a beautiful representation of being yourself and making money.
Yeah. And you also don't have to look a certain way in order to do that. And you can also, you don't have to be a polished person, and you can actually totally talk about like your mental health and when shit goes wrong. And you can be vulnerable and open about that. And it doesn't like make you less professional, even though I hate that word. And it doesn't make people any less inclined to buy and learn from you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. In fact, I think you've been such a strong example because like I said, I've been following Leonie for at least 11 years. I would have to really, really look, which I didn't, to see, how long have I been like reading her blog? How long have I been? I have no idea. But the thing is that really you've changed over not you, but what you offer to the public, what you offer to your audience. It has changed over the years as far as how you've done it. And I think that is I'd love to hear about your thought process on this, because I think one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is that they think that they have set a course and they have to follow it, right? So, or if it's not working any longer, they still make it work because that's what they decided to do. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your journey on that.
Yeah. And before we do, we'll take a short break for me to test my Brenda B. Bailey knowledge. Is it Brenda Bucket Bailey?
No.
Weird. So strong. Brenda Bush Bailey?
No. Although I have one, but thank you. Go on.
No, that's all I've got for now. I thought when you said Texas, I thought that's what you were like kind of referring to, is like being a bush. Because that's where they're from, right? The bush.
Well, it's where he ran from. I don't think he grew up here. Okay, so we won't,
Oh, my deepest apologies. It's kind of like Mel Gibson. For many years, we were like, yes, like he is an Australian, but like we're very proud of Mel Gibson. And then he turned out to be a fucking raging racist. And Australia was like, actually, he wasn't born here. So
we won't claim him.
Who?
I mean, I'm not saying anything. Again, this is not a political deal. I'm not saying anything, but technically he was not born here either. And as we're kind of, Texas thinks we're our own country anyway.
Yes.
So we're a little different in that way.
Yeah, most likely to secede. Isn't that the whole running T-shirt joke?
Yes. So tell us about your journey and what you started, how it all came about, you pivoted before that word even existed.
I did. But first, I want to share with you something that I just read. I read a long list of George W. Bush's nicknames for people. And I thought that was hilarious because he's a really good nickname producer. And so his nickname for Vladimir Putin was Pooty Poot.
To his face?
Yeah. And would refer to him to all of his advisors, like, oh, we'll talk to Pooty Poot. He gives everybody nicknames.
No, I'm talking about George Bush or George W. Bush?
George W. Bush, of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course. And I thought this was kind of weird, but also kind of endearing. He calls his wife Bushy, and she calls him Bushy. It's their shared.
Talking to who? But anyways.
Well, I guess, it's so cute. Anyway, so my journey, now that we've talked about some of the interesting things Leonie's read on the internet lately, like I've read nearly all the internet, thank you for asking. my journey. So, here's the thing, like I want people to understand is that I was like not born a business like and marketing person. Like some people are like, when they're a kid, they're like, yes, I'm going to make money in all these different ways. And I'm going to have like a multi-level marketing scheme in the playground where kids sell rocks to other rocks. Like it's intense. Me, no, I was just off the planet, like just thinking about like art and writing stuff. And that continued. That's absolutely like I didn't grow out of that. But it was when I was 20, maybe 21. No, I don't know. I was at some age, early 20s, I think. And I knew I really wanted to have a creative career, and I was working for the Australian government at the time because I thought that's what you do, like you go get a good office job. And I kept on thinking, no, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I thought maybe I could like become Prime Minister of Australia, and that would, in some way fulfill my ambitious need to change the world. But I thought, no, I don't think I can be all of myself in this in that kind of job. And I'd worked in Australia's Parliament House. I'd worked for ministers by that point. I was very lucky at such a young age to have that experience, and I saw how hard they worked and also what a thick skin they needed to have. And I don't have a thick skin. My skin's fucking translucent, and so I thought, well, if I'm not going to be Prime Minister of Australia, I might as well go for my original dream, which is to be a creative person. And when I looked at how I'd be able to create a business around that, I was like, I don't have the business and marketing skills. So I thought, instead of like just going, well, I just don't know how to do it, then my brain was like, yeah, but let's like work out how to do it. Like everybody, like other people have worked out how to do this. You can do the same thing. And so I started studying and going to the gym to, build up those business muscles and marketing muscles, and trying things out. And, took what worked and discarded what didn't, and then carried on. And so I've just tried so many things over the years from, I had a really long membership program for years and for, 9 years. I have sold art at markets. I've sold art at Etsy. I did life coaching online. I did tarot card reading. I ran in-person retreats. I had coaching retreats in my home. I've done all kinds of stuff and written, a bunch of different books, really just trying out again and again. Okay, what feels right to me now, and what feels like a good fit for me and my audience?
So you've been staying off of social media. And you've been reading a lot. And you've also, and this is, again, I love like, what was the thought process behind this? Got an email from Leonie saying that she was going to be raising her prices, right?
Yeah.
And so if you wanted to get the old, the discounted price, buy now. And so I'm wondering, was it that you were really thinking, well, what was the thought process behind that? What made you decide to do that? And again, we're not talking like she went like from, $1,000 to $2,000. We're talking like 99 to, 198 or whatever, right? So she was doubling it. So it wasn't, so I just want to, let's go ahead and get that clear too, guys. Like, we're not talking like she was like, getting out of anybody's price range or anything. So,
well, here's the thing, like there's so many ways that you can price model in your business. And it's really about working out what works for you, what works for your audience, and what feels like a good fit. And for me, I've always liked to dabble in the smaller price market because I personally prefer selling to more people than less people, because I like when, I do big group coaching calls and stuff like that it's a lot of people that I can help. And that it's a lot of people that are benefiting from my work, and they don't have to go into credit card debt in order to be able to do it. And also at the same time, I need to make sure that everything I do, it feels like a good and true and right fit for me. And so I produce the courses at $100. And then over time I was like, actually, like, I know how valuable they are, and I want to represent the value in them a little bit better. Plus, I want to bring out some smaller, kind of less intensive programs, because those courses are, 4, 5, 6 week intensive courses. I'd like to produce some kind of master classes on different topics that people keep asking me for. And they're not going to have as much content as a 6-week course, because I don't need to cover that specific topic. However, in order to differentiate the price between, a smaller and a larger one, that would mean I'd have to sell something for like $49. And that doesn't resonate with me at all. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do fucking shit for $49. Like,
she's not getting out of bed for that, guys. She's just telling you that right now.
That's right. I'm like the Linda Evangelista.
Well, and I think that this is great to hear from somebody that's been in business for a while, that it's like, okay, this is the minimum that I'm charging. And I was also thinking that possibly, because again, people and not that you want them to go into debt, but people have to feel a little bit of a stretch, and it means a little bit more to them, and they'll put a little bit more effort into it.
Yeah.
Right. To actually do it. And I mean, your programs are great. So you want people to do them.
Yes, I do. I want them to see the fucking results already.
And another thing that you do, just FYI, guys, in case y'all didn't know this, is that she does a monthly Q&A.
Yeah. Yeah, it works out.
And that's pretty much for any programs that anybody has of yours.
Yeah. It's just like a Leonie student program. And so, I mean, here's the thing. People always ask me, like, oh, can I get one-to-one coaching from you? And I'm like, no, you couldn't pay me enough to do that, my love. It's not worth my time to do anything one-to-one, but sure, come join.
Look,
I need to say goodbye to my kids.
Yes.
I was going to say, I'll give you a kiss. My kids are leaving for school, so I just need to give her a kiss. Baby girl.
Hello.
Hope you have a beautiful day.
Hello.
You are so precious.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, darling. Have fun. Enjoy Taylor Swift and that.
Like we said, it's the morning there.
It is. Usually, yes, I've got my other kid sick in the house, so we're splitting duties at the moment. She's fine. She's just, yes, not well. So, but my youngest kid loves that she gets to get dropped to school by one parent by herself, so she can listen to Taylor Swift with us and really think about the tune, like it's very important to her.
And how old is she?
She's 7.
7. See, and I will tell you this, I even remember, like Leonie, like, no shit, Leonie, I've been following you a long time. When you were in bed for it felt like 6 months at least.
Yeah, it was 9 months. Yeah.
9 months, yeah. Right. It was like pretty much she was bedridden, and she was like blogging and videoing from bed, right?
Yeah.
Because of what was going on with the pregnancy, and she was on bed rest. But it didn't, again, I feel like that a lot of people approach, especially new entrepreneurs, do this all or nothing. And there's always a middle road. There's always something. So people want to do one-on-one coaching with Leonie, and she's like, no, but I got this. But I got this. I got this Q&A.
Yeah, you can do group coaching, and it's the best networking session ever, because people end up working together from it and becoming accountability buddies and best friends forever. And it's the greatest.
And I actually, and then at one point she had Facebook groups that she was connecting people who were getting the workbooks, the goal setting workbooks. They were saying where they were, and I actually had an accountability partner for a whole year that I worked with, and that we met. Oh, there's a head.
You actually to school?
Yes, I can, Dylan.
And I'm going to be out longer.
Okay, no worries, Lovey. Thanks, honey.
Real life, guys. Hashtag real life. This is what happens, right?
Yeah.
But no, and so she's always had people connecting, and people always ask really good questions on the Q&A. And she even offered, what was it that you did where we met? Was it once a week, and we actually worked on things for an hour?
Oh yeah, the Get Shit Done Club. That was so fun.
Get Done Club, yes, because then she would put on music and we would dance in between. We would take breaks.
Yeah, work for 15 minutes, then take a dance break. It was really important.
people paid her for this, guys. This is the deal. We were like, yeah. And everybody would show up doing things. I would show up and do things. It was fun.
It was
So
awesome, right?
are you going to bring that back?
No, because it's 1 hour a week. It's like 10% of my work week. I mean, it was the best fun, and I feel really connected to the people who did it with me. But the monthly is much better for me.
Absolutely.
Because then it feels like a treat experience, if you know what I mean.
The treat of Leonie. Yes, absolutely. So what's next?
Oh, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows, babes? Like, so I've got like a bunch of ideas in my journal, oh, what I want to talk about next and where, and in what format. But like in terms of what actually comes, I don't know. And here's the thing, my assistant won't know what I've done until she gets the sales email, like of me announcing something new. And she goes, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. Right, good-o.
So Leonie, do you do all your own copywriting?
Yeah, basically. Yep.
She's brilliant.
Well, I mean, it just like, honestly, I've hired a lot of like very expensive copywriters, and cough, they're shit. They don't earn as much as me. And so I'll just make my own copy. I mean, here's the thing, it doesn't even feel like copywriting at this point. It's just like, I know who my people are. I know what questions they've got to ask. I'll just pre-answer them on a sales page. No biggie.
There you go.
And it feels better when it all comes from me, truth be told. It just does. So I might as well take the time to just actually do it myself.
Well, and I think that, again, like you said, there's a little bit of a formula. You have your style and you do it. I actually, my business coach that I have now, she told me, because I'm not a big writer. I think that that's probably why I hesitated to do the goal setting workbooks, because I'm not a big writer. And so it was like to fill out something, to write down something, to do all this. I was just like, it's so not me. And so, but she looked at me when she was like, so you're going to be doing some copywriting. I was like, can I just hire somebody? Can I just hire somebody? And she was just like, and she's like, this really, again, I apparently love like fairy-like energy. And she like leaned forward in a very sweet voice and went, Brenda, clients of mine who do not learn to copyright or who are not willing to learn to copyright do not make it. And I was like, okay, all right, I hear you. I said, did you feel like you were being a little harsh with me? And she goes, yeah, I do. And I went, no, you're fine. So, and that's the thing is that, and I would think that probably you would agree with that. You have to step out of your comfort zone. If you want to make money, if you want to up level, you have to get a little uncomfortable at times. And I always said, I've been an entrepreneur for 29 years. I'm pushing into 29 years. And
wow,
have been, and growth has always come from being uncomfortable, doing things that I wasn't willing to do. And a lot of it has been by word of mouth. So now and again, I've always just sat in awe of Leonie. So I always just thought, well, I don't know if I want to do the marketing to many, I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. And I've just always kind of sat back and I just thought, you know what, I think I'm taking up a lot of energy. If I can take my energy and do it this way and make more money.
Yeah.
And again, what I love also about Leonie, which I would love for you to talk about who you're philanthropic with, because I feel the same way. I love philanthropic endeavors. I love how you share that. It's part of her mini course that she has where she talks about it. And I think that people forget to put that in their frame of mind when they're thinking about making more money. I think people are, and not that people can't, but I just think that people don't understand that when you make money, that it's so nice to be able to help people or help causes.
Yeah, you can do really cool shit with money. There's a bunch of stuff that I've done over the years. So we built a library in Vietnam through Room to Read. We helped build a 6-room school in West Ghana through Pencils of Promise. We donated $45,000 to a Kenyan children's organization. We are in the top 1% of Kiva lenders worldwide to give microloans to people. And by we, I mean I.
I know, where's that mouth? Go on.
Yeah, it's me. And then, well, I mean, me and my husband. And last year, I kind of switched up a little bit because, you know, we were donating to a kind of quite a large number of organizations, and I wanted to simplify our endeavors a little bit more. And at that point, I became, you know, a lot more concerned about the climate crisis, especially because of our bushfire season we had in Australia, and we'd been evacuated from our house for the first time. I feel like rewilding and keeping land for wildlife and for its own ecosystem is a really important part of the climate crisis. And so our partner now, our philanthropic partner, is Australian Wildlife Conservancy. And so we donated $25,000 last year to them and helped them to purchase more land. They're Australia's largest private landowner, and they buy up tracts of land that are you know, vital to keep species alive and that kind of stuff. So that is what's really exciting to me.
Nice, nice. So final question. So do you need some more Brenda B. Bailey guesses in here? Or?
Burger?
No.
No, tricky. Is it a first name or a last name?
It's a first name.
Oh, okay. Why, like, I have come up with a lot of last name ones. So a B that is a very American.
I don't know if it's very American, but I think it's more American.
Hint. Obviously, I'm not going to win.
Well, I will tell you.
Okay.
Here's full disclosure. My middle name, I am named after a nun.
How exciting.
Who's no longer a nun, by the way. But anyways, the story goes on. But who was a nun was a friend of the family. I have a very Catholic family, and was a friend of the family. And my middle name was after her.
Oh my God, that's really cute. And also, like, that seems kind of on brand for you, like someone who's gone like slightly naughty, if you know what I mean. Forged her own path.
She pivoted, right? She pivoted.
She did.
Back then, yes. This was probably, gosh, in the 70s, right? So yeah, she pivoted. So
I love it.
So here's the question. Do you want to do a guess before the question? Okay. So I think probably one of your claims to fame are your goal setting workbooks.
Yes.
And I think that now tell us about how that came about, because they're amazing, guys. If you every year, like, I get them and I fill them out now.
Oh, love. So how it started was back in like 2009. I was pregnant with my first daughter, and really knew I needed something to hold on to over the next year as I became a mum, and you know, created a new life for myself, and at the same time was building, you know, continuing to build my business and grow my business. So I had a look around to see what like goal planners were out there, and at that time there was nothing. Like, there was like some like
the time planner or they were very, very black and white, very business-like. Yeah, very boring.
So boring.
Leonie Dawson, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were like so like, and also they were just about money and career. It was like very dude focused, and I was like, no, this is not how I like see goals. And so I thought I would create like a goals workbook for myself. And so over the space of like 3 days, I did, and painted it with rainbows and unicorns, and it was so cute. And then like at the end, I was like, oh, this is like so cute. You know what? Like, I could like scan this in and put this on the internet, and I'll sell it for like, you know, $10 as a PDF. And if I sell like 10 copies, that is so cool, because then there'll be like 10 people who are doing their goals at the same time as me. And then that first year, like 1,000 people bought it and I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's amazing. And it's kind of like it's just kept on growing since then. So I've like, updated and revised and made like the business workbook version, and I had different products. We self-published, we had a print-on-demand books. I printed through China. Then I got a publishing deal, and then I went back to self-publishing, and it's been like a long, epic journey. But it's like 475,000 people have used them now. Because once you've used them once, you're like, oh, holy shit, that made a massive difference to me. And they carry on using it and then telling everybody else about them. So it's kind of the ultimate, like,
I even had a
amazing.
group. I even had a group that I had, right? That I was like, okay, we started off at the beginning of the year and I'm like, buy this workbook. Let's get together your goals. Let's look at this. Let's change what's going to prevent you from meeting your goals. Let's go and do this. And here's one. I don't need to, I didn't need to reinvent the wheel or recreate the wheel. I was like, get this one. You'll love it.
Oh, that's lovely.
And they did it, right? And I think it was a very beneficial for them. Of course, I got to be an affiliate, which was great.
Nice.
But, so it was great, right? So here's my story about that. So I end up meeting this really adorable young woman who had just moved to Texas, and she lived about an hour and a half from me, and we decided to be accountability partners. And then we had met in person, and then we decided to do it, and we're going to do the goal setting. So finally because I've bought the PDF, I've bought the virtual, I've bought the printed, I've gotten them all from Leonie. So I had the printed one and sat out by my pool and was like filling it all out and just did it, just sat with it and just filled it out. And so what ended up happening is that I had a brick and mortar as one of my businesses, and I was subletting a space, and they were like, we're not renewing the lease. And like 2 weeks notice. Yeah. So it was like, okay, again, I always think that it's really important for people to understand, like, some things in the moment feel hard. They feel like possibly a punishment. But when have you filled out your goals and you've gotten really clear on your intention, it's just part of the deal. Like, I feel like, come here, come on. I don't know why you jumped down. We're finishing up a story here, Chula. So, she was like, I'm in on this story, so I want to be a part of this. So then I'm meeting like every week with my little accountability partner, like for an hour. And 6 months later, not even, my husband asked me for a divorce. And Leonie's like, this is not how I thought this story was going to go.
This is savage.
And I'm thinking, wow, this was like it felt very blind. That one was definitely blindsided, but it was cool because I was like, okay, like, got it. Again, with what I do for a living and everything, it's like, okay, I trust in what's going on. Not that I didn't have my feelings about it, don't get me wrong, but I was like, okay. But in my mind, one of the things that I thought when this was going on was, shit, I'm going to have to go through my goal setting workbook, and I'm going to have to cross him out of it and everything that he's on, right? And this one and the life one, and now this beautiful workbook's going to have scratches in it. What was really interesting, Leonie, was that he was only mentioned in it twice. And I thought that was super interesting. It was, it's like that deal where I was like writing down what I wanted. And again, I'm not saying like, if you want a divorce, go get Leonie's workbook. What I'm saying is that you have your goal setting workbook. You're really talking about what you truly want, so that whoever your divine power is, the universe, your brain, can all know, like, this is what I want. I have written it down, and I read it every month, and I do my little cards with it, and everything else. And I'm very intentional with it. And I just thought, and it was a very life-changing year that year, apparently, and getting off course, like getting back on course. Like, these are things that I would not have done for myself, but I've ended up being very happy that they occurred.
Oh,
and they were for the best, and it worked out really well. So I think it's that thing, like, when you get really clear on what you want, life makes sure that you're headed on the right path for it.
Yeah.
I know Leonie was like, I don't know if you're gonna, can we edit that out, Brenda? Like, why did you have to do
No,
that? I was kidding.
like this
I
is
mean,
the
just
thing, like
saying, a
life
lot of really
becomes
good things happened as well, right? A
mm,
lot of really wonderful things happened. And I got really on course with what do I really want to do and how do I want to show up, and stop doing the shiny object syndrome, get focused on what you know that your gift is, your zone of genius, just do it.
and here's the thing, right? Like it's like the workbooks don't prevent bad things from happening to you, right? Because life happens. And what I find it does do, however, is it sort of gives you kind of this mast to lash yourself to remind yourself of your biggest visions and your goals and your dreams and your potential. And so when shit gets really hard, which it will do, like unless like there's like this really adorable part when you're in your 20s and you think like you're in control of life and like you can just manifest great things like 24/7. And to which I'm like, yes, that's exactly how life is. Just you keep enjoying it exactly like that, right? Because don't tell them that things have changed like later on, like shit goes down later on. Just like let them enjoy that adorable, time in their 20s when they thought they were in control of their destiny. That's so cute. But for the rest of us, knowing that life does happen, it's a real blessing to still have something to hold on to and go, actually, this is what I want to move forward with, even when life is kind of painful or crippling.
Well, and being perfectly, imperfect,
Mm,
and allowing it, I think again, we talk about in the 20s, like where they think like they're invincible, but also they think that they have to do it perfectly, right? Or
that's
that,
true.
if a little mistake happens, like it's in the world, it's like, I just, last year I was visiting with had gone for a meeting before the shutdown, and was in Tucson, Arizona. And I actually saw my best friend, her youngest sister, who's very young. She's like in her early 20s, and she's divorced, she has a child. And I had a meeting, and then I had picked her up from work, and she just sat there, and because I've known her since she was like 3. And she said to me, she goes, I just didn't think my life would work out like this. And I said, well, one, it's not over. Let me tell you, it's not over. And I said, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Just know that you're going to make a lot of mistakes, and it'll be fine. It may
Yeah.
not be the life that you had envisioned, but depending on how you approach it, it can be even better.
Yeah.
So just know that. And she was just like, she was listening, and I went, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
it didn't work out, it isn't that, there's that saying, we make plans and God laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I told her that. I said, that's the thing. I go, but you have
Mm,
a beautiful son, and you've got
mm,
a great life. So it's okay that you're, I go, everybody has their first, their oops, their
mm,
starter marriage. And then they kind of go, okay, like now I know what I want, or I know who where I want to go. And I think
mm.
it's that way in business too. Probably you would agree, Leonie. You think it's going to be a certain way, and if it doesn't, then we just kind of roll along and are on that journey. I always say that if you want to know what you need to work on, become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's true. And like I always think about my elder matriarch. So I was really blessed to have 3 elders, and they my grandmother, her sister, my great aunt Lucy, and the little old lady who lived down the road, who was our dear family friend Nan, and they lived until 97, 99 and 103. And they were magnificent specimens of humanity, and they were just so ready to laugh and so kind and compassionate, and they constantly talked about how beautiful the world was and how beautiful other people were. And they were not people that life had happened to easily, like they had lived through the most traumatic of circumstances, in wars and in losing husbands and children and grandchildren and all manner of life ruptures, but they didn't let it it didn't harden them, and it softened them instead, and it made them even more beautiful. And so I think about them, and I think, I can aspire to be that joyful and that soft and that loving and compassionate for all of my days, and allow life to continue to tumble me like a river stone and make me so smooth and polished.
Absolutely. What a beautiful sentiment to end with. And again, when I post this, guys, I will put Leonie's website in the comments, not in the post, in the comments, because Facebook won't like it in the post. We'll put it in the comments and get on her mailing list. She really is inspiring, and she gives away free stuff and
All the time. I have a page on my website called Free Shit, and it's just a collection of all the free shit I've given away. So go look at that.
There you go. There's a whole section on it.
Go get the free shit for you. I made for you.
And it's always very colorful and beautiful, and you can print it out, or you can just make it virtual, and it's great. So Leonie, is there anything else that you want to share with people before we sign off here? Or before
I want to share with you the last names that I have in order to be
okay, that's right. Most importantly, yes.
Yeah. There's some books, some kid books. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, called Billy B. Brown.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and but the name always changes depending on the middle name always changes on what she's feeling. And so I was like, Brenda B. Bailey could be the same. You could just go, oh well, the B today stands for da 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 da.
There's my $1 million idea from Leonie Dawson. Go on.
Da, da, da. Okay, so here's my seven names that I've come up with, my last ditch effort in order to be the number one guest on your show. Bunny.
No.
Barbara.
No.
Beatrix.
No.
Berenice or Bernice.
No.
Fuck. Bernadette.
That's it. I was like, but you're close.
Oh my God. One. Number one.
You've earned it. You have earned it. It was saying that it was a nun. I gave her some good hints to help her. When you said Bernice, I was like, ooh, she is so close.
I was so sure I was going to get it by that point. Oh my God. Wow, I've got tears. And to all your best friends that have been on here and have been your favorite guests, I just wanted to say, I won! There it is!
Like me now. Yeah, exactly. So, Leonie, thank you for being my most favorite guest that I've had ever.
Oh, no. I really had to work for that too. And I'm so gracious in my victory.
This has been a ton of fun. And it's just been so lovely to hear things straight from the horse's mouth. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to get to, fangirl Leonie just for a few minutes, and then I will come back. We will do a little bit of belief work on some really beautiful things that got said all along here. So Leonie Dawson, thank you so much for being my guest. What an absolute treat this has been.
Oh, Brenda B. Bailey, you are a babe. The B stands for babe today.
And I hope that there can be just this reflection of being one of your favorite interviews that you've done.
It is up there in my top 8 for sure.
She's had 1 million of them. So, oh my God, I feel like I won the lottery too. So just to join Leonie for the rest of you who didn't make that list. There you go, guys.
Said 8 because I just wanted that fire to be ignited in you as well. Be the fire for competition is on.
Well, I found this out at the end. Wait a minute. Why didn't I negotiate this at the beginning? What was I thinking?
I know. Next time, though, my baby.
I know. What is it? I want to redo.
Oh my God.
Recount. Redo. Yeah. Wait. I'm apparently American. Anyways.
The votes didn't
right.
go the way I wanted.
All right, guys, stay tuned. So, hey, so that was Leonie Dawson. And again, one of my most favorite people ever. And the first time I've ever been able to have a one-on-one. So I think that this is also a beautiful example of saying yes. Like she sent out that email. And I'm thinking, well, I don't have like a high traffic podcast, which she really want to be on. And Leonie Dawson was on my go live. And the only agreement was is that we had to record it. So this is being recorded. So let's go ahead. Let's, again, Theta Power Hour, Theta Healing. We're working on a cellular level. We're going to go beyond the brain, the mind, and make changes on a cellular level. You do have to say yes out loud because your brain, your divine power, whoever, the universe, you need to say yes. And then it's like, oh, okay, she wants that. So always make sure that you have 4 basic beliefs in place. I want an instant healing. I deserve an instant healing. And instant healing is possible. And it's possible for Theta Healing to work for me. So if you would like those, just say yes out loud. Let's get that divine definition of entrepreneur. Let's get that. Let's change what obligates us, which means we don't have a choice, to be that what we feel like is society's version of an entrepreneur. Because I'm going to tell you, Leonie's not. And that's why I've followed her for so many years, because I just admired how she approached her business. And she was like, this is me, take it or leave it. And I loved that. And of course, she had a little bit of pouty mouth, actually not as much as that she does when she talks to her own audience. But that's the thing. It's like, if you didn't like it, just fast forward it, right? I was just playing with her when we were doing the, shooting the finger, because I loved her. And then let's see what else. Let's go ahead and get those first. So just say yes, and then say yes in the comments below. Let's change that you can't have some type of learning disability. She's autistic and she has ADD, and it's like, and she's made like $10 million or something like that. She's done amazing over the last 10 years, and she works 10 hours a week. So, I mean, that's like her claim to fame, so to speak. And she's able to also be very philanthropic. So let's also change what prevents us from being able to think outside of what our basic needs or wants are in order to generate the income to benefit ourselves as well as others. So if you'd like that, just say yes out loud. And this is going to be the last co-live that we have. And it's been my absolute pleasure to have her. And what a way to end. And we're going to be acquiescing over to some other ways for you to be able to benefit and doing this work. So stay tuned. And thank you again for joining us. And I'm Brenda B. Bailey, and this is the Theta Power Hour.